listening to University of Chicago Public Policy Podcasts.
Hi podcasters, you're listening to UC3P, a collection of podcasts made by students at the University of Chicago. My name is David Raban, and I'm the publisher of these podcasts. Today, you're going to hear Lucia Delgado Sanchez, a recent graduate of the Harris School of Public Policy, interview Rene Olivas, a screenwriter in Mexico City. He discussed his pursuit of screenwriting, as well as the motivation behind a few of his scripts. Before we get to the episode, let's do some housekeeping. First, this interview contains explicit language, so please skip around to other episodes if that's a concern for you. Second, this episode was recorded outside of our studio in the heart of Mexico City, so from time to time you may hear some light background noise. Finally, we're going to be sticking with publishing here once per week, so make sure you're subscribed to UC3P so you don't miss any of our content. And now, here's Lucia with Rene Olivas.
Hola, René.
Hola. Hi.
¿Cómo te llamas? What's your name?
My name is Rene Olivas, and I work in the film industry.
Okay, so you are from Chihuahua?
Originally, yes.
And you have been living in Mexico?
For 8 years.
You came to Mexico City to study...
Study film and television.
And why did you choose to study film?
Originally, when I was like 15 years old, I knew I wanted to tell stories. I just didn't know what mean to use. I thought about studying literature or film, and I finally decided for film.
Do you have like a favorite story?
I mean, like in literature or in film?
No, in both. I mean, like some story that you say like, oh, this is like the kind of story I would like to tell.
I like a lot of science fiction, and since I think memory is very unreliable, I have like a record of every thing I read or everything I see, and I point out the things I like. And eventually, even if you think that's stupid because I will remember such things, eventually in 2 years you say like, oh, I don't remember reading that stuff. And
yeah, it should be super interesting like to look at it like after some time.
And the time you're living in your life is different, so you appreciate it in a different way. And sometimes you want to go back to a short story or a novel or something, or a film. And it's more interesting. I don't know.
Well, you came to Mexico City 8 years ago. And then what happened after you finished undergrad?
Well, I went on to work on a production company called Ithaca Films. It was big at the moment, but it kind of lost its way. And now it has very low funding nowadays, but it was very big at the moment. And it was making a lot of films, and I was there like as a script reader, and I wrote analysis of scripts that came to the producer, and it gave me like an idea of what was being written, at least in the country or in the United States, because we received many scripts that were in English.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about film industry, but are there like specific areas where you can focus?
Yeah, I mean, there's like screenwriting, you can go into art direction, you can go into sound design or sound recording, you can go into editing, photography. I mean, it's a very wide area of where you can work. And of course, there's directing. And they say that if you direct, you have to know at least a little bit about everything.
And do you have a favorite one or like?
I liked photography, but since storytelling is what I like to do, I like mostly screenwriting. I think that many stories get lost in the way of directing. So the stories I love the most that I write I would like to make them myself. Others, not so much, but
So have you started working on any of those stories you write?
yeah.
Can you tell us about it?
No, I with many of my friends, we made an independent film called Bestseller, and the film, we got stuck a little bit in post-production because we ran out of money, but it suddenly came back to life after a year of being pretty much still. But I think it was, I like the result. I think it's a good film. It's just that I think that I'm a bit perfectionist. I'm trying to always make something better. I don't know. I'm writing actually 3 scripts right now. And yeah, that's what I've been doing mostly.
How was Bestseller born? Like, you had the script that you have wrote in...
Yeah. I wrote it like 5 years ago. And I kept writing new drafts of it. And eventually I saw that it was like the moment to make it. And we had so many opportunities in terms of people and financial investments of some kind of species or money. And we made it.
How many people were
involved?
working? Yeah.
Yeah, the heads of production, heads of the different departments were about 8. But the crew entirely, through the course of every shooting day, was, I don't know, I have never counted, but about 150.
Getting the funds to make the movie, was it very hard?
Yeah, it's very complicated to make a first film. I got money from very different parts. From a friend that had made a producer for himself and had a lot of equipment. The producer, me, and the photographer worked on some different commercials that got us a lot of money to provide. My family obviously helped a lot, and I provided some myself. So that's pretty much where it came from. It's very complicated to get state support on your first film if you're not the son of someone.
I can imagine. And how long was the shooting?
It was 29 days, spread over a year.
Okay. So I guess that requires a lot of planning too, like setting each day which scenes and...
Yeah. And it hurts. But it pays back in the end.
Yeah. And so now you have something that's kind of close to the final version.
Mm-hmm. We're working on music.
Mm-hmm.
Sound editing, music, and color correction and motion graphics were the last things that got stuck in 1 year.
Okay. So you also need to contact musicians to work. And for, I don't know, other creative people working on it, is there some sort of, I don't know, some people work for free, not for free, but they want to get involved, so they do not ask for a payment. They just want to be part of the project.
Yeah. I was lucky. Mostly the project was lucky because many people decided to work for free. Mostly the department heads.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Collaborating.
If they like the story, I think people will surprise you quite a lot.
And what's the story about, or how did the idea came?
I don't remember how it came, but it's about a guy that invents a machine that basically can write novels. Those novels are very square and pretty much non-creatively revolutionary or anything. But since they can attain like news or trends like instantly, and you can write the books instantly, like since it's a word processing, if Trump makes a fuck up move anytime, you can have a book next day about something related to. I mean, you can make such diagrams about many stories regarding such a subject.
So it's about what happens with the machine that made.
Mostly with the creators and why they created it. But I think the beautiful idea about it is that you can have like a story from A to B, and you can create 100,000 different endings for the same story. And it comes back to a term of nostalgia, you know? And that's what drives the main character into creating such a machine. Because you can create a machine that explores all the possibilities of things that didn't happen.
I hope I get to see it someday.
Hope
soon.
you do. Complete very soon enough.
Yeah. Are you working in some other projects right now?
Yeah, I'm working on 3 different scripts. One is terror, one is animation, and the other one is, I don't know. It's just since it might be like science fiction again. It's just that there are very few movies that are in a mixture of genres nowadays.
In the
Genres? Like, this is a drama. No, it's not a drama.
Yeah.
It's
hard
dramedy.
to
It's
classify.
a drama with comedy and such things. But mostly it's terror, animation, science fiction.
How it's like? Do you have any like routine to work,
Well, I actually...
or maybe no?
No, I try to write. Well, I have like different, like schedule, but like a certain amount of hours that I have to write every day, and that's what I found out that works the most. Because if you work like for a deadline or something like that, it's like sprinting, you know. You do a lot of work in very few days, but then you're exhausted.
Yeah, or procrastination.
Yeah, exactly. But they say every writer is a procrastinator. We're all procrastinators, so I think that's the way I found to actually not to get the work done because I had it done before, but to work better.
Do you have like a special place to write, or you find different spots?
I'm not that picky about that. As long as it's silent and nobody bothers me. I write a lot at night.
Do you have I don't know, like short films or
Yes.
something that we can search for later?
Yeah, I have one that's called Ciudad Juárez. And it's a very interesting film because it talks about violence in the country, but it's not in the way you would imagine. I mean, most short films are very crude and very stuff like that. This one is about... I just like to mention the story because it's so rare that you wouldn't know how it would relate to violence. But it's about... It's a lass that thinks the head is round when everyone else thinks it's flat. It's like an allegory of many scientists in 1400s, 1300s stuff. But it relates to Mexico situation a couple of years ago, especially with the war on drugs.
Is it? Can we find it on the internet?
Yeah, it's on Vimeo.
how can we look for it?
It's Ciudad Juárez on
Ciudad
Vimeo. I
Juárez.
don't know.